There's this game I stumbled into recently, and I swear, 5 minutes in, it already felt like something I'd been waiting for my whole life without even realizing it. It's got the fast, unpredictable chaos of Dead Cells, the neon-soaked attitude and vibe of Cyberpunk 2077, and a soundtrack that hits harder than my morning coffee. It's not trying to tell a deep story or impress you with long cutscenes. It just throws you into the fire, cranks the music, and dares you to keep up. Every run feels like chaos in the best way. You start weak and clumsy, but before you know it, you've stacked 10 random upgrades, your gun shoots lasers and fire and something else you can't even explain, and you're flying through rooms like a maniac. You never know what kind of monster you'll become, and that's the fun. The power-up system is completely broken in the most beautiful way. One run I had a pet that dropped bombs. Another time I had a sword that healed me while I dashed through enemies. You don't really build a character here, you build a disaster, and it's addictive as hell. I've been drowning in work lately. Between all the stuff I have to do, I didn't think I had the energy to play anything. But this game, man, the second that cyberpunk music kicks in, I'm awake. It gets in your head and your blood pumping. Suddenly I'm running through pixel hell with a big stupid grin on my face. I didn't expect a side-scrolling shooter to become my favorite way to blow off steam after a long day, but here we are. I love the variety of playable characters. Well, agents as the game calls them. Each one drops in with their own weapon, a couple of grenades, maybe a key, and just enough health to give you false hope before the chaos begins. They all play differently. Some like to keep their distance, others dive straight into the mess and break everything in sight. You unlock them by finishing strange little challenges, basically the game's way of hazing you. There are 6 so far, each with their own personality, and every single one is built to make your run either brilliant or a beautiful disaster. Now, yeah, the game is not perfect. There are moments when the screen is so full of stuff, enemies, glowing bullets, pets, explosions, that I literally lose track of where I am. I've died more times because I couldn't see myself than I'd like to admit, and not all the upgrades feel good. Some are just boring, or barely do anything. You'll probably end up skipping a lot of them. Also, a few bosses feel more like surprise attacks than real fights. They can be annoying. But even with all that, I keep coming back. There's online co-op too, which is great if you've got friends who enjoy chaos as much as you do. My wife started playing it too, and now she's just as hooked as I am. She's not usually into this kind of fast, chaotic gameplay, but the co-op made it click instantly. We've been diving into runs together and laughing when everything goes off the rails. It's become one of our favorite ways to unwind after a long day. Even when we lose, it still feels like a win. From what I've checked, the developers are active. They're fixing bugs, adding content, rebalancing things. It's early access, sure, but it feels alive. The kind of game that's only going to get better. And for the record, I haven't played the first Neon Abyss. I jumped straight into this one. But I did check the Steam reviews, and most players agree that Neon Abyss 2 is a big step up from the first game in terms of visuals, variety, and content. It adds online co-op, more weapon types, deeper progression, and a unique faith system. It keeps the same chaotic fun but cranks everything up. That said, some players feel it still has issues like screen clutter, weak upgrades, and repeated mini-bosses. There is also the issue with randomness, as it can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes you get amazing runs, but other times you get stuck with bad drops or repetitive enemy rooms. I personally don't mind the randomness in games. Even if you get a bad run, you end up trying all sorts of builds you wouldn't normally consider. And after almost 20 hours of play, I can confidently say that over time, you unlock more tools to help reduce that randomness. You'll get access to upgrades that give you more control over what shows up in shops and what drops during your runs. Overall, it's seen as a more ambitious and exciting version of the original, even if it's still rough in places. So, as a final thought, Neon Abyss 2 isn't perfect. It's still in early access, and there's definitely room for improvement. But it has that rare spark so many games miss. It's fun, it's intense, and it gets your heart racing. And after a long day of real-life chaos, that's exactly the kind of escape I need. This game doesn't ask for much, just your focus, your free time, and maybe the last fragile piece of your sanity. But hey, totally worth it. I'll end the video with a full run using the James character, who is definitely not inspired by John Wick. Let's get this started. I'll commentate over the run at key points and give as many tips as I can. At the start of every run, you can enable the Faith Shop. You'll need to unlock this option after upgrading your tech tree a bit. The chambers that have this triangle icon always contain a free artifact. The child's shampoo is actually really good for survivability when you're low on hearts. Now James, unlike most agents, starts with 2 weapons that you can switch between at any time. I personally prefer the shotgun over the melee one. The room with the 2 crossed swords that I just enter is a type of trial room where if you survive 5 waves of enemies, you'll receive rewards, and it always includes a new weapon. I always recommend exploring the entire map before battling the final boss, as this can help you find better weapons, better artifacts, and also acquire more keys, grenades, and gold. The best tip I can give for exploration is that you should always do the trial room, at least on the first floor. Every agent comes with their own weapons, but I found that most other weapons are better and have more complex synergies than the starting ones. You can always test out new weapons before committing to them. If you like one, you can salvage your previous weapon to gain experience, which will upgrade the selected weapon. Also, weapons found in the trial room are almost always 1 level higher than your current weapon. Be careful with the barrels. They can damage you too. I also recommend breaking everything you can. Barrels can break rocks, and wooden crates usually contain gold. Later on, once you unlock more upgrades, crates can also drop spirits and hearts. You'll also come across different types of chests that can give you grenades, hearts, keys, and gems. Gems are used for curio artifacts, which can drastically improve your experience, but they always consume gems to activate. You can recognize them by the 5 purple icons above your hearts. And one more thing. I forgot to mention that besides hearts, you can also find shields. There are plenty of randomized mechanics in the game, but what I really love is that you can choose whether or not to spend gold to interact with them, and try for better loot. It's also important to know that grenades can break any rocks or rock-covered chests. Keys unlock specific chests, and gold is used for almost everything, from buying items to opening chests. Some special artifacts even let you use gold to open chests directly. There are also chests that require gems to open. Each of these resources has its own unique role, but they can also contribute to your build. Some weapons scale their stats or effects based on how many resources you have. For example, there's a weapon that creates a damaging clone of yourself, and the more grenades you're holding, the more clones it will generate. The same system applies to eggs and the creatures that hatch from them. Certain weapons grant specific bonuses based on how many eggs you have, or how many creatures you've hatched. These egg-born creatures are incredibly useful. Some collect gold, others stun enemies, deal direct damage, provide shields, and more. If you manage to hatch 2 of the same type, they'll automatically combine into a more powerful version. You can view all their bonuses and effects in your menu. You don't have much control over the types of eggs or creatures you get early on, but later in the game, after unlocking more map skills, you'll gain access to special rooms where you can buy eggs, or even swap them to match and combine them. There are also specific artifacts that prevent eggs from hatching, allowing you to build around weapons that benefit only from having eggs and not the creatures. There are tons of combinations to help you become truly overpowered. Let's take a look at the main weapon we got this run. As you can see, if I hold the attack button for a bit longer, a green charge indicator appears. Releasing it fires a more powerful projectile. This will be our main weapon for the rest of the run, but of course we'll keep improving it as we go using artifacts and curios. Some chambers will also contain special colored enemies. The green ones won't attack you, but they drop weapon experience, while the yellow ones drop gold. And just like that, we've leveled up our weapon. Every time your weapon levels up, you can choose between 2 random upgrade options. I've noticed that the options usually offer good synergies with what you've already found. Like if you picked up artifacts that give bonuses from eggs, you'll often get upgrades that complement that playstyle. It's still random, but the system does try to help based on what you already have. Shops are usually unlocked using gems, and as you can see, I currently have 5 options available. You start with just 2 or 3, but you can upgrade them to unlock more choices. A good strategy, especially if you have a lot of gold, is to buy a weapon from the shop and then salvage it to gain extra experience for your main weapon. Or, as you just saw, I bought an artifact. I found this one before, and it's actually one of my favorites, the bamboo propeller. It basically grants your agent the ability to fly if you take damage in a chamber. The first boss, and the next 4 after that, are relatively easy. But the final boss in the 5th chamber has much more aggressive attacks and doesn't give you much time to react or think. As you can see, I just got hit by the boss, and the bamboo propeller artifact activated, granting me the ability to fly. This has to be one of the most fun artifacts in the entire game. As you can see, the boss also drops either an artifact or a weapon after you defeat it. There are also artifacts that improve the rewards from bosses or trial rooms, so keep an eye out for those if you want even more ways to enhance your build. Now onto the 2nd floor. Like I mentioned earlier, the bosses on each floor are relatively easy compared to the final boss on the 5th floor, but they do gain more health and deal more damage as you progress. On top of that, each boss has its own unique attack patterns and behavior. See the wooden red chest on the left. After you progress further and upgrade your tech tree, you'll start getting spirits from chests. Spirits work somewhat like eggs, but from my experience, their attacks deal significantly more damage. There's also an agent you can unlock by having 10 spirits at the same time. He's essentially a spirit master type character. Oh, nice! We also found an egg machine. You can come across these throughout the floors, and they give you 1 egg for 15 gold. They're really useful if you're going for an egg-focused build. You can also increase the chances of them spawning as rewards for defeating enemies in chambers by upgrading your tech tree. Another tip I can give is, even if you're at full health and can't pick up any more hearts, make sure to remember where they are. You might take damage on the way to the final boss chamber, or you might find chests that require you to sacrifice hearts. There are also certain instances or NPCs where you can trade hearts for gold, keys, or other items. So after using those hearts, you can return to the rooms where you left some behind. Hearts, keys, grenades, and even gold are all marked on the map in case you forget, so you can always backtrack and pick them up. One important thing I've noticed is that the first 4 floors offer an abundance of hearts, but on the 5th floor, they become very rare. So make sure you're always at full health, and ideally have some shields, before reaching the 5th floor. I recommend testing all the weapons that drop. You might find one that better suits your playstyle. Even if you don't use it now, trying it out could help you decide on a different build in a future run. Let me be more specific. Every build in this game is completely random. But unlike Hades or other roguelikes where gods give you boons, here you also have an insane amount of weapon variety. Even if you find a new weapon right before the final boss, you can still switch to a different build, since weapons often drop at a higher level than your current one. From what I've seen, the only weapons that don't scale like this are the ones from the shop. Artifacts are what give you the core effects of your build, while the weapon simply absorbs and amplifies those effects. The entire game revolves around random drops and how you choose to synergize them. And I really mean it. When you manage to get a perfect combination where one shot fills the screen with explosions and wipes everything out, you get this satisfying adrenaline rush. That's what makes every run feel different and exciting. I'm making a lot of mistakes in this run, and losing quite a few hearts and shields. But even if you feel like you're almost dead, keep going. You never know when you might come across a few extra hearts or shields that can turn things around. Like I said, the bosses are pretty easy until the 5th floor. I also recommend collecting as many keys and grenades as possible. I often find chests that require just 1 key to open, and sometimes they drop 2 keys in return. The same goes for grenades. I've blown up a wall only to discover a hidden room filled with grenades and gold. Artifacts or upgrades that actively generate these items are some of the best you can get. And now we're on the 3rd floor. Like I mentioned earlier, the room with the triangle icon always gives you an artifact, and usually a good one. You can find one of these rooms on every floor. This video is meant to be both a review of the game and a full run, so you can see the mechanics and how the game actually plays. But I'm curious, would you be interested in seeing tutorials or more in-depth guides where I focus on each game mechanic one by one? Let me know in the comments. If enough of you are interested, I'll definitely take the time to make those guides. This room, the one with the slot machine symbol on the door, only becomes available after you defeat your first 5th floor boss. Inside, you'll be offered 2 random paths. One might give you a small reward, while the other could contain an abundance of loot, or sometimes nothing at all. By the way, floors 1 to 4 each have about 6 or 7 bosses that rotate between runs. But the 5th floor boss is different. Once you defeat one, you unlock the next major boss. These are significantly more powerful and are tied to mini-bosses from the earlier floors. Basically, every time you beat a 5th floor boss, you move closer to unlocking and facing even stronger ones. So far, after around 20 hours of playing, I've only managed to beat 3 of the 5th floor bosses. I'm still learning, still experimenting, and pushing forward to finally face the last one. And again, even with all the mistakes I do in this run, if you take the time to destroy all the crates and open every chest you find, there are usually so many hearts available that you won't need to worry too much about staying alive. Some tech upgrades increase the number of crates and chests you find, and even mark them with what's inside, like this one showing a heart. By the way, the tech tree can only be accessed outside of runs. You basically have a disco-themed hub area where you can upgrade your tech, change cosmetics, switch your agent, and unlock a few mini-games as you progress. The dancing room is one of several special rooms you can unlock through the tech tree. So far, I've unlocked it along with a basketball room and a fishing room. If you complete its minigame, it usually rewards you with either an artifact or a new weapon. Let's also complete the trial chamber and upgrade our weapon. Now this is an interesting weapon I haven't come across before. Cool Dragon. I'll hold on to my current weapon for now and hopefully find this one again in another run, so I can try it out with a different build. Let's also open this rock chest. I think we've farmed enough on this level. Let's move on to the boss fight. We got some nice rewards, but I made a lot of mistakes and my health is pretty low now. Hopefully, we'll find some hearts on the next level. I really love the faith system. This level has the egg chamber, so let me quickly explain how faith rooms work. Basically, each level has a hidden chamber that you can unlock by gaining faith. For example, on this 4th level, the more eggs you collect or hatch, the more faith you accumulate. Once you reach a certain threshold, which you can track with the faith meter, the chamber opens. Each level has a different type of faith requirement. Usually, the first level's chamber opens based on how much gold you earn or spend. These chambers are a great way to get better artifacts or valuable items overall. Oh wow, this is probably the best artifact I could have found right now. I'm down to my last half heart, basically one hit away from dying. And we just found the Senshin Beam, which fully restores all hearts and gives us 4 shields. We're still in this. Let's push through. We've also unlocked the Faith Room, which not only gives us more eggs, but also lets us hatch a few of them right here. You can trade the eggs back for gold, but it looks like it's the same amount. 15 gold, whether you're buying an egg or selling it. Now we're going to hatch a few eggs. Sometimes this room is really far from your regular path, so if you're using a controller, press RB to jump back to the main map. Oops, I keep making mistakes and taking unnecessary damage. Let's do another trial run. On the 4th level, enemies drop a bomb when they die, even after you've defeated them. So I recommend keeping your distance, even after landing the final hit. I'm out of crystals, so I can't open this chest. Let's keep exploring and try to find the boss room. I think I'm just going to head straight for the boss. Since we have plenty of keys, let's go ahead and open this room. Still no sign of the boss room. There's a shop nearby, but I don't have much gold, so it's probably not worth checking. Let's teleport back to the unexplored room and search there instead. Well, we used 3 crystals to open this room, and now we found 6 inside, so at least we're back to full crystals. We've got one more path we haven't explored yet. Oh, and let's also open this chest now that we have crystals. We finally found the boss room. Before going in, we've got a bit more gold, so let's head back to the shop we haven't explored yet and see what's there. Well, not much here, but we did get a weapon we can salvage to upgrade our main one. I'm also going to grab another egg to add to the pile. Let's also grab the 2 gems we left behind in that room earlier. And that's it. Let's head to the boss. I want to check my current curio again. Basically, it gives me a kind of dodge roll, but unfortunately, it consumes gems. Still, it's nice to have multiple ways to avoid damage. Let's take down this boss and move on to level 5. I'm dealing a huge amount of damage, and the flying artifact is incredibly useful for getting in close and pulling back. This build feels really satisfying. Alright, let's move on to the fifth and final floor. Now, on this level, if you're low on hearts and shields, it's a good idea to explore everything until you boost your survivability. But if you're like me, full health, full shields, and a solid amount of damage from your build, I'd recommend heading straight for the boss room and finishing it. The enemies here are pretty tough, and you might end up losing more hearts than you find. So my goal now is to find the boss room. Let's see if buying the weapon from the shop will let me upgrade my main one. Almost, but I still need a bit more. I've explored everything on the left. Let's check the chambers on the right. Oh nice, more damage and some shields. That's a really good artifact. Oh, finally, I can see the boss room. Like I said, if you're already good on survivability and damage, I recommend going straight for the boss and skipping the trial room. However, I know I'm really close to upgrading my weapon, so let's try the trial chamber as well, and hope I don't lose too many shields. More damage is always good. Now let's get to this boss fight. I've died a few times here before and it felt incredibly hard, but this run was a joke. We were so well prepared and had tons of damage. And that's pretty much it. If I enter the portal, it'll send me back to the hub, and from there I can start the next run, where I'll face the next big boss on the 5th floor. I'll quickly show all the artifacts and curios so you can see the full build. If you're interested in seeing more of this, or want a more in-depth, focused guide video, let me know in the comments, or feel free to ask any questions. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.